Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. Now, not going to have any sponsors in this video because this may end up being a firebrand, and these are my opinions and only my opinions. And I also share a sponsor with the Push, being Three Rivers Archery. But Three Rivers knows how I feel. I'm going to tell you guys how I feel and how I think and so on. Because I normally, anymore that is, would not make a video like this. Back in the day, I was all about starting fights on the internet. I kind of grew out of that as I grew up. Here we go. I feel that Tom Clum Sr. from Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear is a very nice person. He's always treated me with great kindness. He's always treated me with professionalism and with respect. Far as I know, there's no skeletons in a closet anywhere. I feel like Tom Clum's a real nice guy. There are things in the solid archery mechanics curriculum, as far as the biomechanics of how to do something, that I personally feel don't work in every situation, because a fly rod and a spinning rod have different ways of casting them. If it works for one thing, it might universally not work for another. So I prefer a different method than what's in the solid archery curriculum. I also haven't actually taken the online course or been to a clinic. I'm only going off of what I hear and what I have seen out in the free domain. Shot IQ, Joel Turner. I feel that there is a lot of validity in the Shot IQ Iron Mind program. Where I feel that that gets muddy, and before I go any further, I also respect Joel Turner. I think that he's good at what he does. But I also don't feel like it works for everybody, but I do think that there is validity to what Turner teaches, because the only reason that Shot IQ and the Iron Mind ideal gets muddy is when the shooter overcomplicates it with a whole bunch of other things that they need to be focusing on, other than actually consistent, disciplined shot sequences. Because if you're pulling a 64-inch bare bow at 40 pounds, where you have to focus on your form and not pulling things out of line and perfect alignment, because you don't have enough weight in your draw to actually have the bow fight your muscles and actually stabilize you where you're in equilibrium with your equipment, that's where Shot IQ gets muddy. Because if you don't have heavy enough draw weight, you really have to focus on getting a clean release rather than relaxing your draw hand and the string just ripping away. So I'm not a certified instructor, but I feel like there is validity in using an ice fishing rod for ice fishing. There's validity for using a spinning rod for spin casting, because not everything works for everything else. It's not universal. So I respect Tom Clum Sr. and all the Clums, and I respect Joel Turner, and I believe that in their own scopes, there is validity to what they do. The problem with the Push curriculum is, quite honestly, it's like trying to learn P90X from 3 a.m. infomercials on basic cable. Okay? The good stuff is behind a paywall. You watch a video for free on YouTube. the infamous, famous push video, and then you try and implement what Zernzak did way too early in your archery experience before you actually have comprehension for all that complicated stuff, and you don't have the money to actually buy their online curriculum, so you're trying to do P90X and expect results from the infomercial instead of the DVD package. That's where your problem comes in. I'm not saying that they're wrong for their online curriculum and actually charging for it. Capitalism's capitalism. There's nothing wrong with that. The push is disliked by a lot of people. A lot of people. And that is the push's single greatest asset. The single greatest asset of the push is that you can't stand them. They piss you off. And quite frankly, I find it frustrating when I end up dealing with people that have a very interesting idea and unrealistic expectations. And I should thank the push because a lot of you have been completely lost by watching push material for free and have come to me. So, a rising tide raises all ships. You hate them. You're bothered by them. And that is why they win. That is why they are one of the single greatest archery media conglomerates out there, is because you can't stand them. And that's all there is to it. Because you freely advertise their brand. It's honestly like Pirates of the Caribbean. Norrington says to Jack Sparrow, "You're the worst pirate I've ever heard of." And Jack Sparrow responds, "But you have heard of me. Trust me, there's a lot of people in the world that hate my guts. I get told to kill myself on a daily basis. But by God, they've heard of me. And you can't spell infamous without famous." I believe in capitalism, but you can't learn P90X from the infomercial. And I can't give you an accurate review of the course material and whether or not it's actually bullcrap because I've never done the online curriculum because I've got my own way of doing stuff. I hope that this answers questions about my opinion on the push as a brand. I don't dislike them as people. I have a very heretical way of doing things that doesn't actually fit with the way that the curriculums are taught and doesn't actually fit with basically the brand. I have my own brand and I have my own way of teaching and I have my own way of instructing. And I'm not a certified coach. Take what is useful, discard what is useless, and have your own journey. And I hope that I get to help you guys. And if the push did want me to teach a somewhat heretical online course where I do my own thing, if they asked me, I'd be willing to do it. While I've got your attention, I want to cover the is it traditional or not debate. Is a fixed crawl or a gap shooting or trad vanes or stabilizer bars traditional? First of all, let me give you an example. Before, Catholic Mass used to be said in Latin. Now Catholic Mass is said in whatever language the country you're hearing that Mass is in speak. So a super traditional Catholic Mass would be said in Latin. But the Mass ritual is still the same depending on the liturgical year, regardless of what language you're hearing that Catholic Mass in, whether it's Latin, German, French, English, whatever. I am less concerned, me personally, I am less concerned with, is something traditional or is it dumb? Because if you're going to say ounces make pound, pounds make pain, and then go screwing shit into your bow, that's dumb. Either it's one or the other, because part of the appeal of traditional equipment is that it's normally lighter and normally simpler. But if you're going to take something simple and complicate it to make up for your inefficiencies, now that's dumb. Follow me? If you're going to insist on a 64-inch recurve ILF and then go sit in a ground blind for pigs or whitetail or a pronghorn that's probably not going to even give you limb clearance, that's dumb. Back when it was all about bow hunting and not so much about the tournament side of things, bows were shorter, they were mostly heavier, and with a short, heavy draw weight bow, or heavier than what's modern draw weights, with a short, heavy draw weight bow, you don't have to worry about getting a clean release, because even if the string angle is pretty sharp, the bow has enough juice in it that it's going to give you a clean release. So I don't really care whether something is traditional enough. I care whether it's dumb. And using a 64-inch bow in a ground blind is dumb. Going to traditional and then complicating it is dumb. That's all there is to it as far as I'm concerned. But do what makes you happy and do it well. 2 questions to ask. Does the way you're doing it work more efficiently? And is it dumb? Because if it's not more efficient, then it's dumb. There we go. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Thank you very much, those of you involved in law enforcement, you good cops out there, and those of you serving in the military ready to die for freedom anywhere. And thanks for watching Tex Grebner Outdoors.